evening, everybody. This is Derek with the Grumpy Guy Show for episode number 39, No Tips for You. Recorded on February 21st, 2022. Tonight's topics we have I overrides we, ethanol isn't so green, and more. So stay tuned. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
And I'm Ryan McAllister.
So we got some topics tonight. I'm not sure what's going to come out of them and how many we're going to get to, but we'll see what we can do. Seems we're both a little sluggish today for some reason, but
Yep.
oh well, we'll figure it out. So what do you say we jump into the first one?
Transition.
We're just really good at those, you know? If we don't tell people that there's a transition, how are they gonna know?
No idea. Anyway, what's the first topic?
All right, so the first thing came up last week on it was on the news. It had to be on the world news or the world news. But basically, there was a priest in Texas, which is how I know it had to be the world news. But throughout his entire career, now the guy, he's very close to retirement. So when I say throughout his entire career, it means it was quite some time. So throughout his entire career, as he baptized children, he said we instead of I. Now this is just how ridiculous these religions are. Because of that, every single child that this priest baptized is now supposedly not baptized. Yeah. That's the ridiculous level there is with this stuff. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me.
I don't get it.
So I don't remember the exact phrasing, but he was supposed to say, I baptize you in the name of the Lord or whatever, something like that. And instead he said we. He was thinking along the lines of the congregation because, you know, it's something that's normally specific to your congregation. And he kept saying we for his entire career. So now, because he screwed up, the church, and I don't remember which church it is, whether it's the Baptist church or the Catholic or whatever. I mean, they're all part of Christianity, so you know it's all basically the same. But the church decided that these people are not baptized because he said we. And I'm just like, are you serious? How ridiculous can you get? You know? I don't know. I don't get it.
Neither do I. It shouldn't really matter.
It shouldn't matter. You know, because the whole idea of baptism isn't about some form of ritual. I mean, yes, it is kind of a ritual, but rituals don't necessarily have the exact same wording every single time, but you know, this is Christianity, so who the heck knows what they're talking about? You know, it's Christianity, the religion that has a sin for stealing, yet stole most of their stories are stolen from other cultures and religions.
Yep.
Oh, but whatever.
A lot of their land was stolen too.
Yeah. And I find it hilarious because, you know, you'll get all these people to say that, you know, Christianity, Christians are so good and they're so nice and they're not violent at all like these Muslims. And all I can think is,
Christians have killed more people than any other religion.
all I can think. Well, you have to actually kind of put that in scope. They've killed more in the name of their religion than others. But all you have to do is you just have to look at what Christians did in the name of God.
Yep.
Crusades. The Crusades were all about eliminating the Muslim religions of the
And
Middle
taking
East
back the Holy Land,
and
which
taking
they
the
failed
land.
at.
Yeah. But that's what the Crusades were about.
Spoiler alert, they still don't have the Holy Land.
Yeah. The Holy Roman
Now the
Empire.
Jews and the Muslims are fighting for it.
The Holy Roman Empire.
Which was really just Germany, but nobody cares.
No, the Holy Roman Empire? That
It was
started
based
in
in
Italy.
Germany.
No, it wasn't.
The Roman Empire was Italy. The Holy Roman Empire was Germany.
I don't know. But at any rate, that whole conquering there was all about forcing people into Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst of all was Hitler.
Yep.
He was trying to get rid of Jewish people in the name of
Mm-hmm.
Christianity.
Well, it wasn't necessarily in the name of Christianity.
That was a piece of it. Because
It was a part of it.
they weren't considered, or he didn't consider them to be normal because, or something along those lines. I don't know. He was a bit psycho.
For him, it was more of a ethnic thing than a religious thing.
Yeah, but with the Jewish culture, the religion is their ethnicity.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But at any rate, Hitler was psycho anyway, so.
He was.
I mean, how many people?
He was an idiot too.
How many people could you ever think of that sanctioned the idea of, how best to or how many ways can you torture and kill and reuse humans, human body parts, while at the same time sanctioning the idea of doing research to cook a lobster in the most humane way possible.
That doesn't make sense at all.
No, but that's why I say he was psycho. But anyhow, so back to the main topic here. I don't get
anybody
this.
who believes in eugenics is a psycho.
Yeah, but I don't get the idea of, oh, you said we, so all these people they're not baptized, and of course,
Yeah, that does not make sense.
Some of these people have passed. They've died believing that they were baptized, and part of the belief with it is that being baptized means that you can be saved. Your soul can be saved by God. So, does that mean since some human decided that this one human screwed up and used the wrong word, that now God's not going to save these people? So, what's he going to do when he's up there in heaven? He's up there in heaven. Well, they decided that this guy screwed up and he used we instead of I, so you go down. Come on. It's just
Don't worry.
It's so ridiculous.
My friend's been saying that he wants to turn hell into a theme park when he dies.
Yeah.
So those people will be fine. Eventually.
But, I mean...
Give them 80 years, they'll be okay.
It's just ridiculous, this whole notion that a human can do this. It's like, oh, well, we know that you abused children your entire life, but say 50 Hail Marys and you'll be saved. You're fine. What? Come on. That's just stupid.
It is.
That's not how it works. And it's a big part of the reason that I don't believe in any religion that there is out there. At least none that I'm aware of. But, I
Hmm.
don't feel I don't feel that this is everything, and that once you die you're done. But at the same time, I don't believe that any of the religions have it right. They are
I
preying
agree.
on
None of them have it right.
yeah, they're just sitting there preying on your fear of the unknown.
Hmm.
So
Some have some things right, others have other things right.
yeah, possibly. You
But
know,
none of them get 100% correct.
no, no. So anyway,
And you should know since you are God,
yeah, yeah.
at least according to your friends.
Well, that all went back to the whole thing of yeah, in Christianity you're not supposed to use the Lord's name in vain. So I said,
Hmm.
oh well, I'm saving people. I'm God. So when you say God, oh God, I hate that. You're saying you're talking to me.
Hmm.
See, so I was doing a service. Yeah, it's all fun. Who cares, right?
Plus, you worked at Burger King, so that's another service.
Oh my. All right, so
Here we
transition
are in a
time because I
service-based
think we,
economy now.
yeah, I think we beat that one to death. So transition.
Woo.
So the next thing. So this topic, I'm gonna drop a link in the show notes or show description, whatever it's called, so
Uh-huh.
that people can actually check out the article for themselves. But it was a routers article, routers.com,
Hmm.
and it was based on a study that I probably should have pulled this up so that I could see, so I could be reminded of
Hmm.
what branch of government it was, because it actually talks about the different branches of government in here that had done
Hmm.
this. So this particular study, a new study, was done by the USDA,
Yep.
and it kind of overrides something that was done back in 2005 that requires, it's a study that was done before. Um, I'm not seeing the branch of the government that did it before. Oh, it was the US EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, had
Hmm.
done the study in the past, right? Or have I got this backwards? Oh, dag nabbit. I had
Hmm.
this all in my head and all straightened out, and then I just lost it. All right, so at any rate, those are the two those are the two agencies involved. The
Yep.
original study was that ethanol was going to save the planet. It was going to make things so much better because, it burned cleaner and it was so much easier on the environment. And of course, it was gonna drastically reduce our dependence on foreign oil and all this other crap, right?
Hmm. And it was renewable.
Yeah, and it's renewable. And you get big companies such as NASCAR who
Hmm.
convert to it and use that solely. NASCAR
Yep.
NASCAR cars are run completely on ethanol.
Yep.
So what's happened is this new study has found that going with ethanol based fuels is worse for the environment than using oil.
Really?
Yes. And it has to do with a whole lot of the way the way that crops have been rotated and whatnot. So in the
Hmm.
past, basically the government, because of the surplus of crops, the government will pay a farmer a certain amount of money to leave a few fields empty. And it's also good for the fields because then, wild stuff grows and nutrients get replenished back into the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's happened because of the need for corn to produce
Mm-hmm.
the ethanol, they've actually gone away from that because farmers can make more money by actually plowing all of their fields and planting corn in fields that had different crops the previous year. So
Yeah.
now all these fields are constantly being tilled, which is using up all kinds of carbon, as in
Mm-hmm.
oil for the diesel, burning
Yep.
all kinds of, burning within internal combustion engines. Plus, because the natural nutrients aren't being replenished by leaving a field alone or planting a different crop, they're adding fertilizers. So, what's happening is they're actually polluting the air drastically just to save the air. And of course, most most politicians have been along the, they've thought along the lines of, well, we've got to increase the amount of ethanol used in vehicles. We can't go with the
Mm-hmm.
10% that's there now. We've got to raise that up to 25% and keep going higher and higher. Of course, now their big push is electric, but
Obviously.
they're thinking that we need to go with the ethanol to replace the oil.
Mm-hmm.
The most of these studies are so short-sighted that they don't look at the big picture like this. I mean, this is almost 20 years later that we're looking at it and we're seeing this is a huge problem. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
saving the environment. This is making it worse. But the study that they did was probably, some stupid little 2-year study of, oh, well, look, hey, it burns cleaner. Of course, let's not look
Yep.
at what's,
Probably.
let's not look at what it takes to actually get to the point to make that ethanol so that it's combustible. No, 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 no. No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to, oh, well, look, it burns cleaner. I mean, I haven't actually seen the studies and read about them myself, but I've heard that it actually takes a lot of fuel oil to
Mm-hmm.
get ethanol to a point of being combustible, to the point of being stable so that it can be transported and combustible. Yeah, gasoline is actually kind of a miracle type of thing. You get a lot of energy out of a gallon of gasoline, and it's extremely stable. The gas itself doesn't burn. It's the fumes that burn.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a match past the fumes of gasoline, you could put a match out in liquid gasoline. The problem is getting it to the gasoline. But you know, it's kind of a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that trying to replace it is causing a huge issue. It
Mm-hmm.
just shows the how miraculous it is. And if these oil companies were allowed to or if the oil companies didn't have a stranglehold on Congress as far as the limits that they want to put on automobiles, I've also heard rumors that cars could easily get 60 to 70 miles a gallon.
Wow.
But again, that's rumor. I don't have any actual studies to quote that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just find it hilarious that suddenly we've found that you know ethanol ethanol sucks. I mean, you can't really put it in a much different way. I mean, it was supposed to be this miracle, this savior for us, and it just sucks. It's making things worse. But this is the fight that your generation is really going to have to deal with, because my generation, we're just kind of sitting here saying, we got half of us saying, yeah, let's just keep going the way we have been going for 100 years. And you got the other half saying, oh no, we got to change. We got to change. We got to save the planet. If we don't make changes now, the planet's going to be gone by 2050. Well, you know what? I hate to tell you folks, but the planet's going to be gone by 2050 if we continue the way we are. The planet's going to be gone by 2050. There's no saving it. Yeah, I mean, I've made it pretty clear before, at least I think I have on here, that I feel there's been warming since the last ice age.
It has.
Perhaps humans have accelerated it slightly, but we don't know.
Probably not too significant.
We don't know the significance of it. There's some people that believe everything is human, which that's not the case. Because, the Earth was very warm when the dinosaurs were here. And then the Earth got very cold. How long did it take to go from very hot to very cold? We don't know. We weren't there. Recorded human history is just a blip since the last ice age. And above and beyond that, you have many places, such as the Americas, where the civilizations that were here did not have a written language. Everything that was passed down was verbally passed down, which anybody who knows anything about a grapevine realizes that grapevines suck. I mean, it's kind of like if in Google Sheets, there's a translate function. So you can put something in, have it in English, have it translate to some other language like French or Spanish, then have it translate back to English, and you've got a completely different sentence.
Yeah.
That's a grapevine. I mean, so we have a very short time period of written history, and it's only in a very small area. They keep talking in the Syracuse area about, like temperatures coming up later this week, they're going to be seasonably cold, meaning they're colder than normal. Well, what's normal? Normal is only 100 years. And halfway through that, they moved the location of the official recording from downtown out to the airport. How accurate is that? It's not.
Not at all.
And that's what we're basing everything on. So, at any rate, another topic for another show, I think. I can go on forever on that one.
Yep.
All right, so how about our last topic in our final transition? See, folks, we'll keep reminding you that it's a transition.
It's a transition.
Just because we're so good at it, you won't know it.
Exactly.
So, this last one, it's kind of a mixed news type of thing. And again, I'll put a link in the show notes so that you can actually read the article. But basically, I was reading this today. There's a restaurant. Oh, you know what? Let me go back a bit. So, outside of the United States, the idea of tipping your wait staff is very, very foreign, and it's
unheard of.
In some places, that's actually an insult.
Yeah.
So, the fact that restaurants in the United States can basically underpay their wait staff and have them make it up by tips, it's really... The concept is great. The execution is not. The concept is that it makes it so that the wait staff is going to work harder to make sure that you have a pleasant experience. The problem is Number one,
Underpaying your staff.
well, yeah, but the first problem is half of your experience at a restaurant is based on the food that you eat. The
Mm-hmm.
wait staff does not prepare that food.
Mm-hmm.
They deliver that food. The
Yep.
second problem is the latest trend that there is with wait staff, which
Hmm.
is which is that all they do is take your order. They don't bring anything out. Somebody from the kitchen brings the food out.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody whose entire job is just to bring food out to your table.
Hmm.
So, okay, now
Interesting.
we've reduced what the wait staff does even further.
Mm-hmm.
So now instead of half of your experience, they're a third of your experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I'm just like, okay. But so there's a restaurant out in San Francisco. I think it was San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco. It's in California, I know that. But basically, what they've done is they've said, we're not doing tips. They
Mm-hmm.
actually post, there's a sign out when you walk in says,
Yeah.
we are very happy to be a no tip restaurant. On
Interesting.
their website, it says, we are proud to be a no tip restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what they do. Everybody in the restaurant starts out at the same. I think the article said $16.32 minimum wage for the city.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody gets profit sharing on the restaurant.
Ah, that's interesting.
So, they say, okay, so yeah, some people are going to say, oh, well, it's only $16.32 an hour for 40
Mm-hmm.
hours a week. That's nothing. But you see, the way the waitresses, they call it waitresses' wages because it used to be mostly females.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that those work is that's it. There's no overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening now is with this restaurant, they're eligible for overtime. So if they
Mm-hmm.
work more than the 40 hours, they get paid time and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But the big key is most of the staff, because of the restaurant sharing, most of the staff is making an extra $600 to $700 per week from the profit sharing.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than most waitresses ever get in tips.
Wow.
I mean, you get a real high end restaurant, yeah, a waitress is going to make that in a night, but that's at a
Yep.
real high end restaurant. You're talking. I mean, this isn't a huge restaurant. They have 40 employees.
Mm-hmm.
They have it. The article was talking to the new owners who bought it from the previous owner, who was a French chef, who
Mm-hmm.
brought the concept with him and really enforced it.
Hmm.
But with these new owners, they've owned it for about 5 years, and they kept the concept because it worked. And what they've noticed is they don't have much for turnover. When people leave, it's not because they're going to go and work at another restaurant, it's because they're changing careers.
Ah.
So, what they were able to do throughout the pandemic is they were able to keep, while these people were getting unemployment, because they did have to close. I mean, it's a restaurant. The restaurant
Yep.
industry is basically had to close their doors during the pandemic. But what they were
Yeah.
able to do is they were able to continue the benefits as far as health and dental, optical. They were able to continue those for the employees while the employees collected unemployment.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as the restaurant opened back up, they got every single staff member except for one to return.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
and people love going there because they're getting great service. And there's no infighting because one of the problems there is with the whole tip system is that the servers are getting all the recognition. Remember, I
Yeah.
said they're only 50% of the experience, or now
1/3 of the
1/3 of the
experience.
experience, where the back of the house, meaning the dishwashers, the cooks, or line prep, any of that, they never got any recognition and they never get any of the tips.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're getting that profit sharing, and it makes it so that there's no infighting between those groups. Even the person whose job is just to clean the restaurant
Mm-hmm.
is involved in the profit sharing.
That's really cool.
It is, and it's a shock. And I've said for a long time, the tip system doesn't work.
Exactly.
They have no incentive.
Awful.
The only incentive they have is to remember you, to know whether or not you were a good tipper. And if you're a good tipper, the next time you come in, they're going to really be nice to you so that you'll tip really well. But if you are a bad tipper, oh, no. They're not going to be nice to you at all.
Mm-hmm.
So the system doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It's nice to see that somebody has stuck with a system that's worked all over the world. I mean, I don't necessarily know that, they're doing profit sharing elsewhere, but that's just huge. That's really what needs to happen.
It is.
If more companies did profit sharing instead of just hoarding it all for themselves and paying off the shareholders, things would be a whole lot different. There'd be a lot more people that are happy. There'd be a lot more people that would be willing to put in the extra time and, the extra time and effort to make the company work better. Yeah, well. So. So I guess we do have another transition, but it's a transition to the end because I'm sure you've heard the music starting up.
So anyways, good night.
We'll see you.